Beneath the stars. Some relationships are like constellations, beautiful yet seemingly impossible to reach. Jade and Maris are two stars locked in an eternal orbit, completely opposite, yet drawn together by an unseen force. Nestled in a quaint seaside town of Whispering Pines, these two graceful women have spent their childhood as rising stars of the local ballet school, where shimmering tutus and echoing music played the cards in a rivalry that has remained unbroken through countless performances. Jade, with her sunny disposition and dazzling pirouettes, always garnered admiration, while Maris, infamous for her fierce demeanor and impeccable technique, received her share of fanfare with unmistakable disdain. A rivalry that fueled their competitive spirits all the way to the national competition. Both have moved on to college, but when the Whispering Pines Ballet Association announces a prestigious scholarship, they find themselves drawn back onto the stage for a final showdown. As old grudges surface against the backdrop of soaring aspirations, their rivalry escalates into something altogether new and unfamiliar. An undeniable pull between enemies turned lovers, igniting a fire that neither can extinguish. After all, sometimes starlight casts the brightest shadows. Beneath the Stars is a new adult, F/F dramedy by Rhea Lynn featuring more ballet slippers than one can count and two fiercely determined women, navigating the delicate dance from frenemies to fire-forged lovers. Jade has recently returned to Whispering Pines to reclaim her role as a ballet instructor. During the first ballet competition of the year, an unexpected incident causes her to come face-to-face with the one person she's tried to avoid for years. I sprint after one of my students, Nora, who veers sharply around a cluster of fellow dancers, but in my haste, I miscalculate and send myself crashing into a group of parents fawning over their children's costumes. I attempt to swerve, but it's too late. I hit my knee against a chair leg, nearly tumbling to the floor. With one final attempt, I regain my footing, only to find myself spraying my coffee all over a pristine white dress on an unsuspecting mom, eliciting gasps and shrieks all around me. "Are you all right, sweetie?" A concerned mom kneels beside me, worry etched on her face. "Yeah, I'm fine," I reply, though the throbbing pain in my knee tells a different story. Once I gather my bearings, the chaos of the moment fades, and I start wiping away the coffee stains from my shirt, trying to ignore the dirty glare coming from the mom in white. Did anyone see where? I cut myself off, realizing Nora has dashed out of sight. "Nora, where did you go?" The room buzzes with anxious parents, and I can feel panic rising as I look down the nearest corridor. If she gets outside, she might be in real danger. Suddenly, I hear the unmistakable creak of a door and turn to see my frazzled student slowly re-entering. This time holding the hand of a woman, the familiar figure sends a jolt through me. "Nora, you're okay." Before I can fully process, my gaze meets Maris's piercing green eyes. The world around us fades as memories of countless competitions hit me like a tidal wave. The last time I laid eyes on her was at the finals when I secured my first national title. I had been riding high on victory. She had been nursing her own defeat. Back then she'd shot me that trademark glare, the one that always made me feel like I was standing on shaky ground. And just as I expected her to cock that smug eyebrow, she had displayed a raw emotion so genuine it left me breathless. "Nora, come here." Maris calls, breaking the magnetic hold between us as she kneels and pulls the little girl into her arms. My heart races as the clamor of the competition returns. For a brief moment, I had wanted nothing more than to bask in that connection with Maris, to listen to whatever she wanted to say. "I'm back," I managed to say, breaking the silence that had settled between us as Nora waddles off to play with the other children. "I see that." Maris steps closer now, her expression unreadable. She's clad in a sleek black unitard that hugs every curve, but it's her steely gaze that holds me captive. The years have carved a different woman from the girl I had once known. High cheekbones, defined jawline, but still sporting that same fierce intensity that drew my attention years ago. "I heard about the scholarship. You think you're ready?" she asks, tilting her head slightly, peppering in that competitive edge I had both loved and loathed. "I'm more than ready," I retort, surprised by how quickly I regain my footing. At that moment I am reminded of how tangled we have always been. How turbulent our dance was and how, somehow beneath the layers of competition and rivalry, there might lie something far deeper. "Good. Maybe we'll see each other out there then." Maris flashes a smirk that ignites memories buried deep within me. The thrill, the rush, the feelings I can't quite define. With that, she turns and walks away, leaving me breathless and craving a challenge that extends beyond the stage. In the air, unspoken words linger, and as the chaos settles around us, I can only wonder if this final competition might just lead to a dance I never imagined. As Whispering Pines Ballet takes center stage once more, the familiar scent of polished wood and stage makeup fills the air, wrapping itself around me like an old friend. Each rehearsal pushes me further into the whirlwind of anxiety and excitement. I prepare to reclaim my title, while also grappling with the undeniable shift that has arisen between Maris and me. Days pass filled with long hours spent teaching, practicing, and analyzing choreography. Yet, my mind is often laced with images of Maris, the intense way she focuses during her warm-ups, the slight upward curve of her lips when she thinks no one is watching, and her electric green eyes that seem to spark through even the busiest of competition settings. I've resolved to focus solely on the scholarship, cementing my goals deep within my mind. But when the letter arrives, the eerie envelope embossed with the Whispering Pines Ballet Association seal, I can't help but wonder if it will unveil a future for both of us, rival or not. As the days lead up to the competition, tension simmers beneath the surface. On one particularly chaotic evening, while we're both backstage preparing for our duet routine, I catch Maris's gaze as she stretches, her body perfectly aligned and poised. My heart races. "Are you nervous?" she suddenly asks, breaking the silence that fills the dressing room, tinged with foundation and hairspray. "More excited than nervous," I reply, forcing a casual tone while trying to suppress the fluttering sensation in my stomach. "How about you?" "Me? I thrive off pressure." She smirks and raises an eyebrow, her confidence radiating like a lighthouse cutting through fog. Then in a more serious voice she adds, "But it's more than just the competition, isn't it? This is everything to us. To you." I pause, taking a moment to confront the truth behind her words. "You're right," I concede, feeling the weight of our rivalry and the stakes at play. "But it doesn't have to be this way, Maris. We could use each other's strength instead of constantly tearing each other down." A flicker of surprise crosses her face, but just as quickly, it's replaced by her trademark smirk. "Is that your way of trying to make peace?" "Perhaps it is," I respond, my voice steady. "Maybe we can be fierce competitors and still care about each other?" she finishes, a hint of disbelief lacing her words. "Something like that, yes," I admit, surprised by my own revelation. Perhaps it's the exhaustion from weeks of tension, or the promise of uncertainty in the air. But I find myself stepping closer to her. "We could be friends too." Maris studies me intently. The atmosphere shifts, and for the first time, I see her defenses crack like the thinnest layer of ice underfoot. "You mean it, don't you?" "More than anything." I let the sincerity spill into my voice, feeling like I might burst from the weight of it. "But only if we're honest with each other about how we feel. This rivalry has gone on far too long." "Agreed," she whispers, her gaze softening as she holds my stare. "But I can't make any promises. I'm still going to fight for that scholarship. Not just for me but for my family. I wouldn't want it any other way," I say, the competitive fire igniting in my chest once again. "But let's make it a fair fight. Let's bring out the best in each other instead of just playing for blood." With a subtle nod, Maris agrees, though there's an unspoken challenge lingering in the air. The day of the competition arrives, bustling with anticipation. Dancers scurry backstage, and the energy crackles like static. As I lace up my pointe shoes, I encounter a swirl of emotions: excitement, dread, and a newfound determination that brushes aside the weight of rivalry. The music starts, resonating throughout the theater, vibrating within my chest. We take our positions and every movement feels electric. I can sense Maris poised beside me, our movements intertwining with grace and athleticism as we leap, twirl, and spin, testing our connection beyond just the choreography. The final act reaches its crescendo, and for a fleeting moment, I see the audience blur, entranced by our performance. It's just the two of us ensconced in our own world, a dance of vivid emotions threading through each movement. I catch Maris as I mid-pirouette, and my heart skips a beat. There's something warm and electric passing between us. As we conclude our piece, breathless and flushed with adrenaline, the applause thunders through the theater. We share a glance, both exhilarated and astonished. In that instant, the fierce rivalry transforms into something else, into the possibility of companionship, perhaps even more. In the aftermath, as the judges deliberate, we find ourselves heart-thumping, side by side in the waiting area. "You danced beautifully," I offer, genuinely proud. "Thanks. You were incredible too," she responds, her smile brightening the dim lighting of the room. "Whatever happens with the scholarship, I just want you to know that I feel like I've won something else entirely by being here with you," I admit shyly. Maris tilts her head, her expression softening even more. The sharp edges of her personality melted under the heat of vulnerability. "I feel the same way, Jade." In that moment, just as the announcer steps forward to declare the winners, the world fades away as I lean closer, drawn to the gravity of her presence. My heartbeat is a wild rhythm as I bridge the distance between us, grounding myself as I finally allow my lips to meet hers. The applause, the chatter, everything fades into the background as the spark of our connection ignites into a fierce light. Somewhere amidst the competition, two stars have aligned and taken flight into the vastness of the universe, illuminating the path toward something beautifully unknown. Whether in rivalry or tenderness, we find ourselves intertwined, and I realize that this dance, this journey, has only just begun. The kiss lingers, a breath of shared secrets amidst the cacophony of applause and celebration surrounding us. Time feels suspended, the pressures of competition fading into a distant memory. It's a moment that redefines everything about us, the rivalry, the challenges, even the bitterness of our past. When we part slightly dazed, I see the warmth in Maris's eyes, a mixture of surprise and joy that mirrors my own. For the first time, I notice the way the corners of her mouth lift, the barriers between us lowering with each heartbeat. "Are we really doing this?" she whispers, her voice edged with disbelief yet laced with hope. "I think we are," I reply, an exhilarating thrill shooting through me. We can be more than mere competitors. We can be allies in this dance called life. Before I can dwell more on the implications of our newfound bond, the announcer's voice booms, bringing attention back to reality. "And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The winners of the Whispering Pines Ballet Association scholarship." The atmosphere shifts and tension creeps back in. Maris and I exchange a quick glance, our hearts racing in unison. As the names are read, each syllable feels like an eternity, my mind racing with predictions of victory, loss, and everything in between. "We would like to congratulate." The announcer pauses for dramatic effect, Jade Monroe and Maris Anstrom. The crowd erupts in applause, and I can hardly believe my ears. The surge of excitement makes me feel light on my feet, and I whip my head toward Maris, who sports an expression of sheer disbelief that quickly transforms into an electrifying smile. "We did it!" she exclaims, her voice a blend of joy and wonder. And in that instant, it feels like our journey has come full circle. As we walk up to the stage together, hand in hand, my heart swells with pride, not just for the scholarship but for the person standing beside me. We've emerged victorious in a new way, using our fierce spirits to lift one another up instead of tearing each other down. After the ceremony wraps up, the two of us step backstage, the weight of the day settling in. "So what's next for us?" Maris asks, her fingers still entwined with mine. "I suppose we start planning our next performance together?" I suggest, my pulse quickening at the idea of collaborating creatively. "Together sounds perfect," she agrees, leaning closer, our foreheads almost touching. "But can we do more than just dancing together?" The vulnerability in her tone makes my heart race anew. I search her eyes for any sign of hesitation, and all I find is warmth and sincerity. "I would love to explore whatever this is," I admit softly, my cheeks flushing with the enormity of the moment. "This is just the beginning for us." Maris chuckles lightly, her laughter a cascade of warmth. "Just so you know, I'm still competitive. I'll challenge you to every dance-off we have. Bring it on." I tease, my pulse racing at the thought of future challenges. Dancing side by side, pushing each other to reach new heights without the constraints of rivalry. Hours later, as we stroll along the moonlit shore of Whispering Pines, the ocean waves crashing in a soothing rhythm, I feel a new sense of freedom. I can breathe more easily knowing that I'm with her. "I always thought we were destined to be rivals," Maris muses, picking up a seashell and tossing it into the water. "Maybe we just needed to find common ground beyond competition," I reply, catching her gaze as I let the cool night air wrap around us. The scent of salt water and blooming flowers fills the air, a perfect backdrop as we share quiet moments in between laughter. What if we end up being really good together? She wonders aloud, her confidence mingled with intrigue. The hint of vulnerability in her voice sends shivers down my spine. I think we already are, I reply, a smile dancing on my lips. From rivals to partners, we've both grown so much. We push each other in the best ways. Maris leans in closer, her voice softening to a whisper. Maybe we can even become partners in more than just dance. I meet her gaze, a thrill running through me at the prospect of our journey ahead. I'm ready for that. As we walk side by side, the weight of the world starts to lift. We share stories and dreams beneath the vast expanse of stars, knowing that whatever challenges lie ahead, we will face them together, hand in hand. And thus, beneath the watchful eye of the universe, two once rivaling stars have found their way to each other, igniting sparks of creativity and love that might just light the way for many more dazzling performances in life to come. After all, in a world full of twinkling possibilities, who says rivals can't become the brightest constellation of all?